Do you wake up every morning needing to clear your throat over and over again, and that thick mucus just won't go away no matter what you try? You've tried everything from cough syrups to hot teas with honey, and nothing seems to work, and that constant need to clear your throat is driving you absolutely crazy and embarrassing you in public? What I'm about to share with you today will completely change the way you understand this problem, because the real cause of that persistent phlegm that never goes away is something most doctors never even mention to their patients, and it's probably happening in your body right now without you even realizing it. Maybe you've been dealing with this for months or even years, thinking it's just allergies or a cold that never quite went away, but I need to tell you something important right now, and I need you to listen carefully because this is not normal and your body is desperately trying to tell you something that could be affecting your entire health and quality of life in ways you haven't even connected yet. My name is Dr. Rebecca Parker, and I've worked as a physician for over 20 years, and today I focus specifically on senior health, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that this constant phlegm problem I see in my senior patients day after day is one of the most misunderstood and undertreated conditions in America, and the worst part is that most people are treating the symptom instead of addressing the real root cause, which means they're wasting time and money on things that will never truly solve the problem. You're not alone in this struggle, and I want you to know that right now, because across America, thousands of seniors, just like you, are waking up every single day with that same annoying thick mucus in their throat, having to constantly clear it, feeling like something is stuck there, and it's affecting their conversations, their sleep, their confidence, and even their ability to enjoy meals with family and friends. And I've seen how frustrating and isolating this can be. But here's what most people don't understand, and this is where everything changes, because that persistent phlegm that just won't go away is not coming from your lungs or from a respiratory infection like most people assume, and it's not seasonal allergies either even. Though that's what many doctors might tell you without investigating further, and the real culprit is something that's happening much lower in your body in a place you'd never even think to look, and once you understand this connection, everything will make perfect sense. If this is resonating with you right now and you're tired of that constant throat clearing and mucus that never goes away, hit that like button, because this information could change your life and help other seniors discover what's really causing their phlegm problem. Let me explain what's actually happening inside your body right now, because understanding this mechanism is the first step to finally eliminating this problem forever. And the truth is that in the vast majority of cases, especially in people over 60, that persistent phlegm and constant need to clear your throat is being caused by something called silent reflux or laryngopharyngeal reflux, which is very different from the heartburn most people know about. And here's why this is so dangerous and so overlooked. Your stomach produces powerful acid to digest food, and normally there's a valve at the top of your stomach called the lower esophageal sphincter that keeps that acid where it belongs. But as we age, and especially if we eat certain foods or have certain habits, this valve starts to weaken, and when the happened, stomach acid can travel upward through your esophagus and reach all the way up to your throat and voice box. And here's the shocking part: you don't feel any burning or pain like you would with regular heartburn, which is why it's called silent reflux, because it's silently damaging your throat without you even knowing it's happening. When that acid reaches your throat and voice box, your body tries to protect itself by producing extra mucus to coat and shield those delicate tissues from the burning acid. And that's the thick, sticky phlegm you're experiencing every single day, and no matter how much you clear your throat or cough it up, your body just keeps making more and more, because the acid keeps coming up and your throat keeps needing protection, and this creates a vicious cycle that never ends unless you address the root cause. Research published by the American Academy of Otolaryngology indicates that up to 60% of chronic throat clearing and persistent mucus cases in seniors are actually caused by silent reflux, not allergies or infections, and most of these people have been suffering for years without ever getting the right diagnosis, and they've been using the wrong treatments, which is why nothing ever works, and the problem just continues getting worse over time. The longer you wait to address this, the worse it gets, because that constant acid exposure starts damaging the tissues of your throat and voice box, causing chronic inflammation and irritation, and over time, this can lead to hoarseness, voice changes, difficulty swallowing, chronic cough, and even increase your risk of developing more serious throat problems that I don't even want to mention. But you need to understand that every day counts, and the sooner you take action, the better your chances of reversing this damage completely. Now let me tell you exactly how to eliminate this problem starting today, because I'm going to give you 3 powerful solutions that work together to stop that acid from coming up, protect your throat while it heals, and finally give you the relief you've been desperately seeking. And these aren't complicated, expensive treatments, but simple, practical steps that you can start implementing immediately right from your own home. The first solution is something you can do tonight before bed, and it's going to make a dramatic difference in how you feel tomorrow morning. And this is so simple, but so effective that my patients are always amazed they didn't know about it sooner. And here's what you need to do. Elevate the head of your bed by at least 6 inches, and I don't mean just using extra pillows, because that doesn't work properly and can actually make things worse by bending your body in the wrong way, creating more pressure on your stomach. But instead you need to raise the entire head of your bed so that gravity can work for you while you sleep, keeping that acid down in your stomach where it belongs instead of allowing it to travel up to your throat. You can do this by placing blocks or bed risers under the legs at the head of your bed, and you can find these at any store like Walmart or on Amazon for less than $20. And this simple change works because when your upper body is elevated even just a few inches, gravity prevents stomach acid from flowing upward, and this gives your throat a chance to heal during the night when reflux is typically at its worst because you're lying flat for hours. I had a patient named Dorothy who's 72 years old, and she had been clearing her throat constantly for over 3 years, and she'd been to multiple doctors and tried countless medications, and nothing helped. And when I explained silent reflux to her and told her to elevate her bed, she was skeptical because it seemed too simple, but she tried it anyway, and within just 1 week, she called me almost in tears, saying she couldn't believe the difference, and after 1 month, that constant mucus was 90% gone, and she could finally sleep through the night without waking up choking on phlegm. But elevating your bed is just the first step, and now I need to tell you about the dietary changes that are absolutely critical, because what you're eating and drinking every single day is either feeding this problem or helping to solve it, and most people have no idea which foods are secretly making their reflux worse. The science behind this is clear, and doctors explain that certain foods relax that valve at the top of your stomach, making it easier for acid to escape and travel up to your throat, and other foods increase acid production in your stomach, creating more of the burning liquid that's causing all your problems. And if you keep eating these foods, no amount of medication or elevation is going to fully solve your phlegm issue. Here are the main foods you need to avoid or drastically reduce starting today, and I know some of these might be your favorites, but I promise you that eliminating them will change everything, and these include coffee and caffeinated beverages, which relax the valve and increase acid production, and chocolate, which does the same thing. And I know that's hard to hear, but your throat health is more important, and also tomatoes and tomato-based products like pasta sauce and ketchup, because they're highly acidic, and citrus fruits like oranges, grapefruits, and lemons, and spicy foods, and mint, including peppermint and spearmint, and fried and fatty foods, which slow down digestion and increase reflux, and carbonated drinks like soda, which create pressure and force acid upward. Now I know that sounds like a lot, and you might be thinking, what can I even eat anymore? But don't worry, because I'm going to give you a simple protocol with delicious foods that will actually help heal your throat and reduce acid production. And these are foods that are easy to find at your local grocery store, and they're part of traditional American cuisine, so you won't feel like you're eating strange, unfamiliar things. Here's your simple protocol for healing your throat and eliminating that persistent phlegm, and you should follow this for at least 30 days to see maximum results. And I've seen this work for hundreds of my patients who thought they'd never get relief. For breakfast, eat oatmeal made with water or almond milk, and you can add sliced bananas, which are excellent for coating your stomach and reducing acid, and a small handful of blueberries for antioxidants. And if you need sweetness, use a little honey, but avoid sugar. For lunch, have a serving of baked or grilled chicken breast or turkey, which are lean proteins that don't trigger reflux, along with steamed vegetables like carrots, green beans, or broccoli, and a small portion of brown rice, or a slice of whole wheat bread, and make sure everything is prepared without heavy oils or spices. For dinner, keep it light and early, because eating late at night is one of the worst things you can do for reflux, and try baked fish like salmon or cod, which is gentle on your stomach and rich in omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation, along with a baked potato without butter or sour cream, and a side of leafy greens like spinach lightly steamed. And here's the critical timing rule that most people miss. You need to finish your last meal at least 3 hours before bed, and preferably 4 hours, because if you eat and then lie down right away, that food and acid have nowhere to go but up into your throat, and this is why. So many people wake up with terrible phlegm in the morning because they ate dinner at 7 and went to bed at 9. The second powerful solution I want to share with you is a natural remedy that you can make at home, and it's incredibly effective at neutralizing stomach acid and soothing your irritated throat, and this has been used for generations, but modern medicine has forgotten about it, and it's so simple and inexpensive that you'll wonder why nobody ever told you about this before. This remedy is called the Alkaline Throat Soother, and here's exactly how to make it and when to use it for maximum benefit. Ingredients you'll need are 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, which you can find at any grocery store, and 8 ounces of room temperature water, and that's it, just 2 simple ingredients that almost everyone already has in their kitchen. Preparation is incredibly easy because you just mix the baking soda into the water and stir until it's completely dissolved, and the water should be room temperature, not cold, because cold water can shock your stomach. How to use this remedy is simple, and you should drink this mixture about 30 minutes before your largest meal of the day, which for most people is dinner. And what this does is neutralize excess stomach acid before it has a chance to come up and irritate your throat. And baking soda is alkaline, which means it counteracts the acidity and creates a more balanced environment in your stomach. But I need to give you an important caution here, because if you have high blood pressure or heart problems, you should talk to your doctor before using this regularly, because baking soda contains sodium and you need to make sure it's safe for your specific situation. And also, don't use this remedy more than once per day, because too much baking soda can actually cause other problems. Now let me take you deeper into understanding why this works and why addressing stomach acid is so critical, because from a medical perspective, your digestive system is incredibly complex, and when one part isn't working correctly, it affects everything else. And this is especially true as we age, because our bodies naturally produce less stomach acid, which sounds like a good thing, but it's actually not, because we need adequate acid to digest food properly, and when we don't have enough, our stomach has to work harder, and that can actually lead to reflux problems. Write in the comments, have you ever experienced constant throat clearing or persistent mucus, and did you know it could be related to your stomach? Share your experience, because your story could help someone else who's struggling with the same problem right now. The third and most powerful solution I'm going to share with you addresses the root cause at an even deeper level, and this is where we're going to talk about something that might surprise you, because it's not just about what you eat, but how you eat and when you eat, and the habits surrounding your meals that could be keeping you trapped in this cycle of constant phlegm and throat irritation. One of the biggest mistakes I see seniors making every single day is eating too much too fast and not chewing their food properly. And when you eat quickly and don't chew thoroughly, your stomach has to produce more acid to break down those large pieces of food, and this excess acid is exactly what ends up traveling back up into your throat, creating that mucus problem. Here's what you need to do instead, and this is a practice that takes some getting used to, but it will transform your digestion and eliminate your reflux, and you need to chew each bite of food at least 20 to 30 times before swallowing, and I know that sounds excessive. But your digestion actually begins in your mouth with enzymes in your saliva, and the more you chew, the less work your stomach has to do, and the less acid it needs to produce. Also, you should eat smaller meals more frequently throughout the day instead of 3 large meals, because when you overload your stomach with too much food at once, it creates pressure that forces acid upward past that weakened valve, and smaller portions mean less pressure and less reflux. And this is especially important during dinner, because that's when most people eat their biggest meal right before going to bed, which is the worst possible combination. Another critical habit that most people overlook is staying upright for at least 3 hours after eating, and I mentioned this earlier, but I want to emphasize it again because this is so important, and that means no lying on the couch after dinner, no reclining in your favorite chair, and definitely no going to bed right after eating, because gravity is your friend when it comes to keeping acid down, and the moment you lie down, you lose that natural protection. I remember a patient named Robert who's 67, and he'd been suffering with constant phlegm for 5 years, and he'd tried everything from allergy medications to multiple rounds of antibiotics because doctors kept telling him it was a sinus infection, but Nothing ever worked, and when I sat down with him and really listened to his story, I discovered he had a habit of eating a big bowl of ice cream every night while watching television lying on the couch, and then he'd go straight to bed within 30 minutes. When I explained to Robert that his nighttime ice cream ritual was probably the main cause of his phlegm problem, he didn't want to believe me at first, because he'd been doing this for decades, and it was his favorite part of the day, but I challenged him to give it up for just 2 weeks and see what happened, and he agreed reluctantly, and I also had him elevate his bed and change his dinner timing and follow the dietary guidelines I gave you earlier. 2 weeks later, Robert came back to my office, and he looked like a different person, and he told me with tears in his eyes that for the first time in 5 years he woke up without that horrible mucus in his throat, and he could talk normally without constantly clearing his voice, and he said he couldn't believe that something so simple could make such a dramatic difference, and now he tells everyone he knows about silent reflux because he doesn't want anyone else to suffer the way he did for so long. But that's not all, because there's one more aspect of this that we need to address, and it has to do with stress and how it affects your digestive system, because medical research has shown that chronic stress and anxiety significantly increase stomach acid production and also weaken that valve that's supposed to keep acid in your stomach, and many seniors are dealing with stress related to health concerns, financial worries, loneliness, or worries about family members, and all of that emotional burden is literally creating more acid in your stomach. This is why it's so important to incorporate stress reduction techniques into your daily routine, and I'm not talking about anything complicated or expensive, but simple practices like taking a 15-minute walk outside every day, which helps with digestion and reduces stress, or practicing deep breathing exercises for just 5 minutes before meals, which calms your nervous system and prepares your body for proper digestion, or spending time in your garden or with your community or church group. Because social connection and purposeful activity naturally reduce stress hormones. The American Journal of Gastroenterology published research showing that seniors who practiced stress reduction techniques along with dietary changes had a 75% greater improvement in reflux symptoms compared to those who only made dietary changes, and this shows you how important the mind-body connection is when it comes to digestive health. If this video has opened your eyes to what's really causing your persistent phlegm problem, hit that like button and let me know, because this information needs to reach more seniors who are suffering needlessly with a problem that has a real solution. If you want access to exclusive content, detailed meal plans, and personalized advice for managing reflux and other senior health issues, become a channel member, because there I share even deeper information and answer questions directly from members and give you protocols that I use with my own patients. Now let me bring all of this together for you, because I know I've given you a lot of information, and I want to make sure you know exactly what to do starting today to finally eliminate that persistent phlegm that's been making your life miserable, and I want you to understand that all 3 of these solutions work together synergistically, which means they're more powerful when combined than any single one alone. Solution number 1 is elevate the head of your bed by 6 inches using bed risers to let gravity keep acid in your stomach while you sleep, and this simple mechanical change will give you immediate relief, especially in the morning. Solution number 2 is follow the dietary protocol I gave you, avoiding trigger foods like coffee, chocolate, tomatoes, citrus, spicy foods, mint fried foods, and carbonated drinks, while eating reflux-friendly foods like oatmeal, bananas, chicken, turkey, fish, vegetables, and whole grains, and remember to eat your last meal at least 3 hours before bed. Solution number 3 is change your eating habits by chewing thoroughly, eating smaller, more frequent meals, staying upright after eating, managing stress, and using the alkaline throat soother remedy with baking soda and water 30 minutes before your largest meal. When you implement all 3 of these solutions together, your body finally has the chance to heal, because you're stopping the acid from coming up, you're reducing acid production, you're giving your throat time to recover, and you're addressing the root causes instead of just treating symptoms, and this is how you eliminate that phlegm problem forever instead of just managing it temporarily. I've seen this transformation happen hundreds of times in my practice, and I can tell you with complete confidence that you don't have to live with constant throat clearing and thick mucus anymore, and you deserve to wake up every morning with a clear throat and a clear voice, and the ability to talk and laugh and eat with your family without that embarrassing constant need to clear your throat. Your body is incredibly resilient and capable of healing when you give it what it needs, and right now what it needs is for you to stop that acid from damaging your throat and give your tissues the chance to repair themselves. And the amazing thing is that many of my patients start noticing improvement within just a few days and significant relief within 2 to 4 weeks. This could save your quality of life because persistent reflux doesn't just cause phlegm and throat clearing, but over time it can lead to chronic hoarseness, difficulty swallowing, increased risk of aspiration pneumonia, and other serious complications that can affect your independence and well-being, and the sooner you address this, the better your outcomes will be. If this material was helpful and you now understand what's really causing your phlegm problem, hit that like button one more time and share this video with someone you care about, because I guarantee you know someone else who's dealing with this same issue, and this information could change their life the way it's about to change yours. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos where I'll be sharing more critical health information specifically for seniors, and I'll be covering topics like how to naturally lower blood pressure, how to prevent falls and maintain balance, how to improve memory and cognitive function, and so much more that's designed specifically for your needs. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, I'm sure you'll love this one that's appearing on your screen now, because I prepared it especially for this channel's subscribers, and it covers another critical health topic that affects millions of seniors across America and could be affecting you right now without you even realizing it. So go ahead and click on that video, and let's continue this journey toward better health together.